All right, welcome back. Today, we are jumping into one of the most incredible, most epic stories in all of Hindu mythology, the Samudra Manthan. That's the great churning of the ocean. We're talking ambition, we're talking conflict, sacrifice, the ultimate quest for eternal life. And it all kicks off with one simple question.
Seriously, just think about it. What would it possibly take for gods and demons to team up? You've got two sides, right? Their sworn enemies have been for eons. One side represents, divine order. The other is all about chaotic ambition. So what could be so monumentally important, so valuable that it would make them work together? The answer to that question, well, that's the key to this entire story.
And that big answer? It's immortality. Plain and simple. The Samudra Manthan is the story of how the Devas, that's the gods, and the Asuras, the demons, formed this completely unprecedented alliance. Their one shared goal? To churn the primordial ocean and pull out Amrita, the divine nectar of immortality. This was a job so huge, so monumental, that neither side could even dream of doing it alone.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because their motivations were identical. The Devas, they'd lost their strength and their immortality because of a curse, and they were desperate to get it back. The Asuras, on the other hand, always hungry for more power, saw this as their golden opportunity to finally rule the universe. Both sides wanted the exact same thing, eternal life. And just like that, this fragile, super high-stakes partnership was born.
Okay, but how in the world do you churn an entire ocean? Well, you need a churning machine of cosmic proportions, and the scale of this thing is it's mind-boggling. First, they literally uprooted the massive Mount Mandara to use as the churning rod. Then, for the rope, they got Vasuki, the king of all serpents, to wrap around it. But the mountain was so incredibly heavy it started sinking straight to the bottom. So that's when Lord Vishnu steps in, takes the form of a giant tortoise, his Kurma avatar, and dives down to hold the entire mountain on his back. Just amazing.
So they had to decide who pulls which end of the snake, right? The Devas, following a clever bit of advice, took hold of Vasuki's tail. The Asuras, well, they were way too proud to take what they saw as the lesser end, so they demanded the serpent's head. Big mistake. Huge. They were immediately getting blasted by the fiery, poisonous breath that Vasuki was spewing with every single pull.
And with all the pieces in place, the great churning began. The two sides started pulling, back and forth, turning this enormous mountain and churning the ocean for who knows how long. The effort was just immense. And as the ocean started to bubble and swirl, incredible and pretty terrifying things began to emerge from the depths.
The very first treasure to surface? Kamadhanu, the sacred cow of plenty. Now, this wasn't just any cow. She was said to grant any wish you could think of, a symbol of endless prosperity. I mean, imagine that's the first thing that pops out. You can bet their motivation just went through the roof. She was given to the great sages for safekeeping.
And the wonders just kept on coming. Next up from the waves was Airavata, this magnificent white elephant with multiple tusks. He was so majestic, so powerful, that Indra, the king of the gods, immediately claimed him as his own personal ride. But the ocean wasn't done yet, not by a long shot. After the elephant came the Kalpavriksha, a celestial, wish-fulfilling tree. I mean, for both the gods and the demons, all these treasures were just proof that their hard work was about to pay off big time. The ultimate prize, it had to be close.
And then came the most significant arrival yet. Rising from the churning waves was Lakshmi, the radiant goddess of wealth, fortune, and prosperity herself. Her appearance just filled the universe with light and hope. She chose Lord Vishnu as her eternal partner, and for the Devas, man, it must have felt like victory was right around the corner.
But just as their hopes were peaking, the ocean turned dark. Before any more treasures could come out, this terrifying black smoke began to rise from the depths, and it was burning everything it touched. This was no treasure. This was a complete and utter catastrophe.
This was Hala Hala, a poison so incredibly lethal it threatened to wipe out all of creation.
Its fumes were so toxic they started to choke everyone, gods and demons alike. The churning came to a dead stop. Their quest for immortality was about to cause their total annihilation. So, in this moment of absolute crisis, the sworn enemies forgot their fight and begged Lord Shiva for help. And Shiva, seeing the universe on the brink of doom, did something of ultimate compassion. He gathered the entire ocean of poison into the palm of his hand, and he drank it. He took all of that destructive power into himself to save everyone. The poison was so incredibly potent that his consort, Parvati, rushed to his side and squeezed his throat, stopping it from spreading through the rest of his body. Now this saved him, but the poison was trapped there in his neck, staining it this permanent dark blue. And from that day on, he was known as Neelkanth, which means the blue-throated one, a name that is a constant reminder of his incredible sacrifice. Okay, so with the universe saved from total destruction, the Devas and Asuras got back to work with a new sense of urgency. They were grateful, they were reinvigorated, and they pulled with everything they had, sensing that the ultimate prize was finally within reach. The ocean churned faster and faster, building towards its final spectacular climax. And then a final, divine figure emerged from those swirling depths. This was Dhanvantari, the celestial physician of the gods. He rose up from the ocean, and in his hands, he held the very thing they had all been fighting for. There it was, the whole reason for this cosmic effort. In his hands, Dhanvantari was holding a pot filled with Amrita, the shimmering, divine nectar of immortality. Against all odds, after all that struggle, they had actually done it. Think about that. After all of that effort, all that sacrifice, with the fate of the entire universe hanging in the balance, it all came down to this: one single pot. The key to eternal life was finally in their grasp. So the churning is over. The prize has been won. But that fragile truce between the gods and demons? Oh, that's over too. With only one pot of nectar, a brand new fight is about to break out over the ultimate question: who actually gets to be immortal? And that, well, that's a story for another explainer.